Tonight on Obscured Reality, join us and our guests as we take a look at UAP incidents seen over military installations and ships. Find out if our guest has seen anything on the ground during his military service. Sit down, sit back, and relax, and join us on our journey through Obscured Reality.
Welcome to another episode of Obscured Reality. Join your hosts, Mark and Stephanie, as they take you through a journey of the extraordinary, bizarre, and often frightening world of the unknown. Explore topics of the paranormal, UFOs, alien abduction, lost civilizations, mythical monsters, and other unexplained mysteries. Come along with us as we transcend into another dimension of obscured reality.
Welcome back to Obscured Reality. I'm your host, Mark. Joining me tonight, your co-host, Stevie. How's it going?
Good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How's it going? It's been a whole week.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. Oh man, so talkative. We get on.
No,
You're a lady of few words until
no,
about
it's
3
just been a
minutes in.
long week, and I have nothing good to say about it. That's all. I have nothing good to say about this week. It's been
Well,
long.
you're still employed, so that's good. Temporarily.
Yeah. Till this kicks off the ground, then it's bye-bye corporate job.
I didn't get a text back last week saying, "Hey, guess what?" So, hey, we got a guest tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to hear about him? His name is Alex. He's a longtime friend, mainly when we go riding. Unfortunately, he has bikes. I don't anymore. He is retired from the Navy. He's a retired Navy CB. I'm going to have to ask you to explain. Naval Construction Battalion, but say hi, Alex.
Hello. Thanks for having me. It's
Hey,
an honor and a pleasure.
Thanks for being here. It's more our pleasure with 16 subscribers and slowly growing.
That's you know what? You got to start somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Rome
definitely.
wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, definitely. So you were in the Navy, huh? Naval Construction Battalion. I never knew the name of it. I had a half-ass idea what you did, but it was just a half-ass idea. So I know it wasn't necessarily combat, but what did you do, if you don't mind?
No, I had a plethora of different jobs in the in the military, basically. At least in the Navy, you know, one day they might need a welder. The next day they might need a heavy equipment operator. And if you're ready, willing, and able, and you volunteer, they'll pretty much send you to school.
Yeah.
So I had a multitude of different specialties while I was served.
Right.
So initially on active duty, I was in aviation. I was an aviation mechanic. So
really?
I worked on ground support equipment. So anything that supported aviation, meaning
Okay.
tow the jets around.
That's kind of a confusing term.
Mm-hmm.
When you say aviation, I'm thinking, oh shit, you worked on airplanes, but I never mentioned that before.
Well, the term was no air support without ground support. So ultimately, without me, there would be no aviation.
Right.
Without my
Makes
job,
sense.
we were like it's called the backbone of aviation. But I mean, we were a really diverse craft, or in the Navy, they call it a rate. So it was a very diverse rate. And I specialized in a multitude of different things. I did 12 years. I got out, and then 2 years later, I missed it. I joined the reserves, and the reserves is a much smaller Navy, so they didn't need aviation mechanics. They basically said, well, if you want to stay a mechanic, we need CBs. We need construction mechanics, meaning working on bulldozers, Humvees, tractors, forklifts, excavators. So more or less, I left the aviation side and went to the ground side.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny you say, I missed it. Like, to me, I never really hear that from people who've been in the military, but I'm not surprised with you because you're very, to yourself, and I'm doing my own thing. I could totally see it. Like, it's a total place for you. Like, you'd be a lifetime fit there if you wanted, I think.
I wanted to. Unfortunately, they made me retire 2 years ago, and I want to keep going. But you get to a certain point where they say, you know what?
If you're not moving up and
I wasn't. I got promoted in the reserves, and getting the next pay grade above that, it was very difficult. It's very locked. There's a lot. It's locked up, meaning there's just no slots available, and they give you so much time, and then they say it's time to go.
Yeah, and they're getting rid of people too, aren't they? Or they have been. I don't know about right.
They did get rid of a lot of people, and now they can't. The people they got rid of, they got to replace them, and people are just not interested in joining.
Yeah, especially today.
Yes,
it kind of makes you scared for the future of the country with these last couple generations, and man, and I don't know how to word this correctly. It's kind of sad to see because you see them trying, and of course we don't know the purpose behind it, right? But you see them trying to adjust and to the people that would be or should be going in right now, and the Navy and military, I'll say, is going woke and all this stuff. They're trying all this stuff to appeal to these
entice
people.
them.
Yeah, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's like, well, why lie to them? Because and the reason I say that is because once they get in, sure, maybe they've dumbed down training and some of that, and they're not yelling as much because it hurts everyone's feeling. But once you get into the actual job and you're on, say, a carrier or a battleship or a submarine, you're going to be required, period, to do your job or else. And we know a lot of these coming in probably aren't going to want to.
Correct.
They're going to bounce. Correct. And it's like, well, where the fuck does that leave your sub if 10 of them say, screw you, we're not working? I mean, you can't just shoot them out a torpedo tube and say, get out of here and pick up some people, whatever country you're in.
Shoot them out a torpedo tube.
It's unfortunate. I honestly feel that the baby boomer generation, your mom, your dad, my mom, my dad, they raised us to, don't bitch.
This way.
Do the best at it you possibly can, no matter what it
fuck
is.
With the dog here.
Come here.
Trying to go around me.
I'm so
did he
jealous.
Go? Okay, cool.
I'm so jealous. It's okay. My cat will eventually come bother me.
He's kind of like our dog is now. He's kind of just boom, do my own thing, and like no, get over here. Hey,
that's my old dog too.
He still is over here. Oh shit! I thought he went.
He likes you.
Aww.
I might just leave him here.
You know what? I'll just block this off.
No, I appreciate you letting me come and bring him into your studio.
Oh,
this is a really elaborate setup.
Yeah, you're gonna have to vacuum it. I just got a lot of hair on my hand.
I actually washed him before I came over. I gave him a good bath.
Hey, Stevie, guess what?
Yeah. What?
The one you wanted to try. Yeah, they're good. All right. Yeah. It kind of makes me scared, especially with not scared, but concerned. Especially with what's going on in the world.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's very scary. If we honestly had to go to war right now,
oh God,
I don't think. I don't want to be a pessimist.
Dog hair.
Stop talking about the dog
in my mouth. No, I got it.
Welcome.
In my mouth.
Welcome to the life of double hair.
No extra charge.
Welcome to the life of a dog owner that has a double coat.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably get into a little bit about what you're saying here in a little while too. But I mean, are you sure we might not stand a chance? Because it's looking like there's a good chance we might have some technology that most people, public, just aren't aware of.
If that makes sense.
I mean, we kind of always do, right? But possibly some shit that's crazy enough that most people be like, no way.
At this point, nothing surprises me.
Nope,
nothing,
not at all. Same here, 100%.
I feel like with the newer generation, they would have to make a quick and swift change into a more digital, hands-free battle to accommodate the lack of boots on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the boots that are going to be on the ground right now, unfortunately, they'll probably just be casualties. It might be a good distraction for the enemy. But
I have my opinions.
Yeah, no comment. Oh wait, I just commented. Sorry. Well, let's get into a little background real quick because I don't know. Alex and I have never talked about this stuff. Okay, never really a need, but so I don't know how much you know, how much you follow, what you're aware of, what you're seeing on TV, not seeing. You probably don't watch TV that much, is my guess.
I watch a lot of TV. I'm a
See,
news guy.
There you go. Oh, okay. So you've heard of UAPs?
Of course.
Okay. So UAP, just in case if I'm repeating anything that you know, tell me to shut up. UAP is the new term for UFO.
Okay.
Because UFO over the years, over the decades, has been turned into or looked at as meaning aliens, something from outer space, which is not true, as you know, unidentified flying object. However, it doesn't really encapsulate everything that's been seen, going on, happening. This new UAP task force, whatever it's called now, has created the new acronym UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, right? To, one, kind of help remove the stigma or make it a little less, at least, especially for military personnel, because as you've probably seen, a lot of the aircraft, especially fighter aircraft, are coming very close to some of these things. They don't know what the hell they are, and very few would ever report the stuff, right? Because they just get hassled back on the ship or on the ground, so they're trying to destigmatize it. Whether it'll work, it kind of all looks like it's part of a plan, but who knows? So you're aware of UAP, what it means, and have you seen any of the videos that have come out in the last 5-6 years? We have, what are we talking about? Go Fast, Gimbal, the Tic Tac videos.
I don't know anything off the top of my head. I don't know, but I've seen videos, and it's like, I don't know if they're superimposed. I don't know if they were like fabricated by some.
They're not they're 100% real.
And I believe that. I believe honestly that there is life outside of our atmosphere, outside of our
planet.
Yeah.
How could there not be?
Elon Musk, he's an alien. To do what that man does, to be the smartest man on the earth.
He's a workaholic machine, dude.
He's more than that. He honestly has alien blood, and I honestly believe that.
Oh, that would be awesome. On that note, like, no joke, I laugh because it's funny, but I'm not laughing at you.
Nobody compares to him. There's not a fucking person on this earth that has done
not at all.
That can. He's just relentless. He doesn't give up. He's just he epitomizes genius.
Yeah, he does. He barely sleeps. He said, I think you and I were talking about this, Stevie, real quick one time. He had said in an interview,
it was like
Joe
5
Rogan,
hours.
I don't know. Yeah, he says he sleeps like 4 or 5 hours at night, and they're like, why? He's like, well, because that's all I need.
You don't gain his success by sleeping.
No.
I don't think he even sleeps. I think he just waits. You remember that old term about Chuck Norris? Chuck Norris doesn't sleep, he waits. I think Elon Musk, I just think he gets the bare minimum.
I haven't heard that one.
And I think his concepts, his ideas, and I'm sure his mind is going a million miles an hour all the time. Yeah. So honestly, do you think he can actually get a good, decent
sleep?
I
doubt it. I think he needs some of the fun stuff to calm him down, which is probably why he does smoke weed, because
good for him.
He's just always going. Well, okay, so I got a bunch of these videos. I'll show you. First, I'm just gonna cruise real quick, like super short, just through. We're talking like super brief. We've talked about some of these, Stephanie, but just a couple stories in the past. So I don't know what you're aware of, but we're talking possibly some old stuff too. But so when you were in the Navy, you were on ships here and there, right?
Yes.
I don't know if that was majority of the time or not. However, knowing where you were out of, you were off the California coast at times in training.
Sure.
I'm guessing.
Sure.
And again, anything you don't want to say,
no,
just let me know.
That's classified.
Yeah. So that's where a lot of these things have been seen, is out there. Past San Clemente Island, where the training grounds.
I've done most of my training has been in San Clemente Island. So
so they've there's also been sightings, and we're all I'm talking about right now is military sightings. We're talking from ships, sensors on planes, ships, battleships, carrier groups, all this stuff, right? So radar, sonar, everything. They've seen them in the water, moving faster than anything known, faster than anything we know of can move underwater,
Sure.
as well as in the air. So, my question for you is: have you seen anything you couldn't explain? Could just be a light, and I'm referencing to when you were in and actually on duty, rather than personal life. Personal life too, but
No, when I'm on ship, I'm in the skins of the ship
working.
within
Yeah.
the hangar bay. So I don't see much. I don't see much celestial anything going on really within the sky or in the water, just because
and that's why, and I that's the exact point. I think Stephanie. I mean, that's why you only see radar operators and the pilots mainly that are having whatever encounters, and it's mainly, I mean, honestly, it's probably all coming from the radar. They're probably picking it up on different sensors, and just like David Fravor with the Tic Tac thing, they sent them out there. They didn't come across it. They radioed him after he took off, said, "Hey, cancel all your shit. We need you to go check something out."
Sure.
Right? Otherwise, he never would have had a clue. But and I've heard people question, on carriers. They're like, "Well, they got all these people out there working and blah 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 blah." I'm like, yeah, but this isn't your typical city job where your manager might not care if you fuck off. Like, you need to do your job. Period.
Not only that, but the top deck of a carrier is very dangerous. You have, cables catching planes coming in. You have cables launching planes. Like, you have jets that if you walk in front of, you're not going to exist anymore. So,
have you ever seen one of those cables snap?
I used to work on those cables.
Have you seen
when I first joined. No, thank God, no. Close.
I was going to ask if you've ever seen one snap. If you've ever seen one snap and hit someone.
Snaps, it'll cut somebody in half.
Yeah.
Gone. Dunzo.
You indicated, that's a very good point. So basically, on a flight deck, you've got arresting gear, which traps the aircraft.
Yeah.
And you get catapults that launch the aircraft.
Yeah, you don't have time to be looking around. You have time to be looking at your job and keeping your ass alive.
It's essential personnel only. You got to be qualified to be up there. And if they are doing a night op, which happens every so often, they don't want innocent bystanders up there. They have no need. There's no need for you to be up there.
Yeah. Which is why I bring it up, because I've heard people comment on this before, within the community on this stuff, and they make comments like that. I'm like, I've never been in the military,
I don't know.
but I'm not stupid either. I know how it works.
I think I don't know, but common sense is not so common. I get it. I know.
I don't care what branch of the military you're in, what your job is. I think the same or similar standards apply. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in Navy or the Army or the Air Force, whatever.
Yeah,
you're doing what you're paid to do, and more so probably what you're told to do.
Correct.
And you do it. There's no bullshitting around, And if you fuck around, you're done. You probably get reprimanded, and you probably don't get too much.
A lot less than, say, 20, 30 years ago. Now it's much more understanding, because everybody I want to be justified what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Like you said earlier, it goes along with the whole, not necessarily the wokeness of it. That's being diplomatic, but everybody, I want to know the reason why I'm doing this. So, but yes, correct. Your job in the military, no matter what rank you are, your job is to do.
Yes.
And not ask questions.
Yeah, that especially,
and not think about it, because the thinking's already been done.
Yeah.
So you just execute your orders. That's
correct.
Yes.
Now you've been out in the field as well.
Yes.
I remember you telling me some stories, and never really much of anything. A little bit of it I won't go into, because it's probably not something to talk about on here. But you did go out because like you said, you're in a way like a mechanic, right? When you'd go out, I think you mentioned you went out with Humvee columns before, right?
Correct.
And you were there in case something breaks down. You got to fix the shit. If you can't get it fixed, you got to get it flown in and then get it fixed.
Correct.
So I'm assuming.
Just out of curiosity, where did you do support missions at? Did you do it in either one of the theaters or?
I did a year in Afghanistan and I did a
Regal?
year in Iraq.
Okay. Huh?
Regal Cinemas. God, I got
No,
stupid
Cinemark.
jokes. It's a good thing
Cinemark
Alex likes
14.
them. Alex,
Jeez. Why would you
gotta
even bring Regal up? Cinemark is so much better.
I gotta give Alex some credit here. He doesn't know this, but he's always laughed at my jokes, even when I know they're dumb as fuck. And
It takes me a second to process them sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's different though. But he's like Mike would say here. I might say something dumb, and he'll just look at you with a straight face and be like, and then I'll try and liven it up, and he'll be like, Alex has always laughed at him, and they usually are pretty
Well, you
dumb.
got some funnies. You do.
I think you're a little more old school like me, and I'm not old school, but our age, you probably get it. But okay, so I asked that for a reason. Obviously, I'm going to ask you, have you seen anything out there? Obviously, I know you're there for a job. You're not looking up in the skies or anything.
Well,
however,
actually,
you're around other people that might.
I spent a year in Afghanistan, and we're there for a year. And the Army, this Army unit we were supporting, so Navy guys, there's like 30 of us. We were supporting an Army unit. And the Army guys, if they weren't out doing convoys,
I'm going to put my hat on since Alex has his on.
They'd be standing watch, perimeter watch.
He's going to love it. I'm not cutting you off.
No, you're fine. We'll see this hat.
I'm going to feel super left out. I feel so left out.
Why do you?
I need to go get a hat now.
Why do you have that?
I was at the mall one day with the wife and the kids, and I wanted a new hat. I have another hat I wear when I go out. Well, I don't wear hats much, but I take it out if we go on a hike, or if I take the kids out to the stream out here in the canyon. I'll put the hat on because the sun, right, and especially glasses. And we were at the mall one day, and I was like, I need another hat. I want another one that looks a little different. We went into this one sports store that had more hats than I thought they would, non-sports related.
Sure.
But they all kind of sucked. And I mean, I found a few I liked, but they were stupid expensive. So then we're downstairs in the mall, and there's Spencer's.
Of course. Of course.
Yes. I mean, where else would you get that, online? And I'm like, fuck it. This is like half the... Well, yeah, not anymore.
Well, 90s Hot Topic. I take that
not
back.
in this mall. Yeah. So I take the kids in there, and then I'm looking around. They got hats. I'm like, let me see. They probably have something cool. And I saw a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to wear a weed hat. I don't do weed. I'm not with shit. I'm like,
did they have that one? They have that one hat that said, "I'm here to fuck shit up."
They probably did.
Okay.
But I saw this, and I'm like, oh, that explains what I think probably 90% of the day. Now, obviously, daughter's starting to read, so I can't wear it around her and all that. But I didn't get it to really wear out in public, right? Nobody's going to try and fight me. I'm 6'5". Nobody's ever tried.
It fits.
But
I mean, I think most of the people probably won't be able to read that anyways. You're too high up there.
Thanks. It's nice and cool up here too.
Fuck you.
For lawful carnal knowledge.
Hot down here. I'm closer to hell.
Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So you were saying you're out in the field.
So we'd stand watch, the Army guys would stand watch. And they'd stand watch when they weren't patrolling, they weren't convoying. They'd be standing perimeter watch. And I thought to myself, you know what? These guys need a break. So I would volunteer to stand watch for them every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Usually once a week, I would say, hey, I'll stand your watch for you. And we'd stand in these guard towers. I have my M16 with me. And I do like a 6-hour watch. And I would just look straight out.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it was like tunnel vision because I had you have your sectors.
Yeah, of course.
So each tower has its sector of fire. So if we took contact, I had an area that I was
decent idea of
for.
what their location was.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'd stand up every so often because I was in a chair. So I'd stand up every so often and I'd kind of stretch my back and I'd walk out of my guard tower. I'd look up at the sky and there was millions and millions, and again, millions of stars.
Yeah, you're talking about what, borderline third world countries? They have no manufacturing, barely any, like the pollution out there?
I wouldn't even call it third world. I'd say Afghanistan.
Yeah.
This is Afghanistan. It's not Iraq.
Right.
I'd say Afghanistan is more fourth world.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so primitive.
Yeah. Their only pollution is coming from our fucking vehicles being over there.
Yeah.
They have Yeah, they don't have ultra low emission vehicles there. I promise you that.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think they have
It
catalytic
is a
converters there either.
beautiful country, though. A lot of
Well,
people don't
it
realize
is.
just
It
how
is.
beautiful that place is.
It really is.
With all due respect, the U.S. is kind of running out of cat converters too.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But yeah, no, I mean that'd be amazing to.
Mm.
I've always wanted to be in a place like that, but not like that, but where you have that kind of view of the sky.
But my point being, there's a lot of stars. We know
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
but I don't think they were all stars. Now I can't describe. I never saw. I see a falling star or a shooting star every so often,
Ooh.
but there were so many stars you couldn't account for them. I mean, it was just like.
What do you mean? I don't think they were all stars. Are you referring to satellites or aircraft?
I'm thinking possible satellites.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe extraterrestrial life.
Mm-hmm.
I just honestly believe. I mean, it was every single night. There was just it was an infinite number of stars. And I don't think really they were all stars.
Right. So you're referring more to out in space. You're kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but are you talking about kind of just reflecting on what you're looking at out there? Like, hey, I'm looking out there. I'm seeing shit I don't see in the U.S. Like, that's amazing. There's got to be life out there. Are you talking like in reference to that, or
like I think there's life other than us in our world, and
right?
Within our what do we call it? Within our solar system, within our universe.
Okay, so then I'll just come out and ask a question then, since obviously you didn't go there. I just want to make sure we're not confused on what you're saying, right? So what about within the atmosphere, or what you believe might have been within the atmosphere?
I think.
Did you see anything?
No, that's as far as I'd ever really.
Okay.
Because again, like I said, on ship, if I wasn't on the flight deck working, I was in the skin of the ship, and when I was on the flight deck, there's no time to look around. And then at that point, you're just all you want to do is get off shift and hit the rack.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So the only opportunity I really ever had to reflect or even ponder would be my time in Afghanistan, specifically when I was standing a watch for somebody.
Yeah.
Because I had 6 hours to ponder and think about life. And,
let the depression sink in.
As long as nobody was shooting at me.
Of course.
I had my 240 Bravo there, my 240 Golf, my SAW, my 249, whatever.
Oh, I love that guy.
I was ready to go when if the shit hit
Anthony
the fan,
had
I
a
was
SAW.
ready.
Yeah.
When he served, he had a SAW.
I can't tell you how many times I've shot a SAW, but they were always in a video game.
Yeah, it's an M249. I believe you can own. I can believe you can own one in Las Vegas. I believe you can legally possess one.
There is a man called Dragon Man's out in Colorado, and he has like license to own and shoot literally everything because it's all in public, like private property, and you could go out there and shoot literally whatever you please. I'm pretty sure he's still a thing.
A guy seen on I don't even know where I've seen it. I think it was someone's channel, and there's a dude in some other state. They own some property, and they have a bunch of tanks, and you go drive them. They have a little track set up, kind of cool.
I want to drive a tank.
Have you ever driven a tank?
No.
Have you been in a tank?
If you did,
no. I almost got to drive an APC, which is a anti-personnel carrier,
right?
Which looks similar to a tank. It's a track vehicle, but it doesn't have that big giant turret on it like an M1A1 has. So they're more for troop transport.
Yeah, blowing up the small shit.
They could. I believe they had some kind of a armament on it, but it definitely wasn't anything like a Stryker or a Paladin,
right?
Or an Abrams or a what's the other one? A Bradley. It was nothing like that.
Of course.
But still, I mean, it was 5-6 inches of thick steel, and it could probably go over
fucking sardine can, man, waiting to that. I never had claustrophobia in my life until my older years here, and I found out once on an airplane. It was horrible. And I think about being in a goddamn tank, dude. As fun as it would have been maybe years ago,
yeah,
just to go in and try it out. Now I'm like, man,
Mm-mm.
even if I had the opportunity to go somewhere and just sit in one, I don't know that I would. I think I'd flip out.
It's funny we're having this conversation because when I think about if I had to redo, if I had to go back and do it again, would I do it again? And of course,
Right.
was
You're
beyond.
thinking with a different mind now, though, you know? So it's like, of course you probably fucking would because you did in the first place.
And it was great. But if I had to go back again, I'd go back as a tanker because I'm just fascinated by tanks. And when I was in Afghanistan, no, we didn't have tanks there, but in Iraq, I was on an M1A1 base, and I see them all the time. And I got excited when they go by. I mean, it was just like,
you know what? One of my favorite military vehicles, the Apache, one of the greatest of all time, man. That thing's that and the SR-71, but the Apache's fucking
the Blackbird.
Yes, it is. Both.
Yeah, the SR-71. Yeah, that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I made a model of that airplane in wood class one year. Yeah.
Did it turn out good?
It actually looked pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It was awesome.
It just didn't fly.
No,
Okay.
but it was really cool.
Well, okay, so we got some of the history. So I'm going to go through a couple stories real quick. I had some videos. That was the main point. I want to, kind of get your take on them, and say my opinion. We don't care, but I want to get your opinion just from your point of view of having been in the military, specifically on ships, specifically in active war zones. Correct me if I'm wrong. Active war zones.
Yes.
And see what you think. But my assumption is you might not be fully up on the history of it. Not that I am, but there's some things regarding military ships, military installations that have happened. And it's, I mean, for lack of a better word, it's been proven or almost proven on most of these, but some of them are pretty fucking important too. They have some meaning if it's not from this planet. If it is from this planet, then we're screwed. If it's not from this planet, then they've shown we're not screwed. But if it's from here, if it's another country, But of course, you'll look at these dates and probably say what I say, which is, well, they would have done something by now if they were going to do something, right?
Sure.
So obviously you've heard of Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana?
No.
Jesus Christ. I didn't think I'd get him on a question. He wouldn't.
No.
Really? Okay. Malmstrom Air Force Base. We did a show on it a while back. They house a lot of, I think, a few different types of missiles, but one thing they house is nuclear missiles. Okay. And there's a few bases that are scattered across the top of the U.S. I don't recall the states, but there's at least 3 or 4, which were put there back in the day as, main line of defense against shit coming in from like Russia, because it's going to go up kind of northern and down over Canada and hit us, right? So that's why the shit's there. Still there. And so Malmstrom houses nukes. Now, the way I've heard this be told is we're talking about groups of nukes. So you might have one group that works with this set of nukes, and there's like 10 of them. And then there's another section of the base that houses another 10. They're kind of separated, right? So this particular story, I'm not going in depth, okay, is from March 1967, okay? And I'm just going off recollection here. I'm not pulling up all the bullshit because there's no need to, and I don't want to look at the fucking notes. But in 1967, there was a dude, these were all military personnel on base. This was at night, and this guy was out there walking by one of the buildings or whatever, and he somehow, this thing in the sky caught his eye. He swears to God there was something that came down and was basically hovering over the base, completely silent. And here comes the DOG. Yeah, man.
The best pause ever.
I wish I had a different camera. I could angle it, but so this guy's out there and he sees this object, this craft. It's like, what do you even call it, right? This thing hovering over the base, over the section he worked at. He called down for someone down inside to come out. And he's like, dude, get the hell out here. Check this out. Like, make sure I'm not seeing things. This other guy comes out and he's like, what the fuck is that? So we now have two people that saw this, right? Military personnel. So at the time this thing came over the base, inside, all the nukes in that unit that this thing was over went offline, completely shut down. Now that's important for probably a few reasons, but one of the main reasons is none of the nukes, from what's been described by these guys, is the nukes are not connected to each other in a fashion that you can hit a button and turn them all off. It doesn't work like that.
Sure.
So let's say you were going to go in, hike in there, and cut the cord to take them offline. Yeah, like Splinter Cell, the game.
I love that game.
If that shit were even possible, which it's not, but let's say you could, right? You couldn't just go cut some main line and shut all the nukes, take them all offline. You have to go to each individual one and fuck with all that shit, to whatever you're going to do to take it offline. Then you got to go to the next to take it offline. It's purposeful for a reason, right? So if something happens, they're not all gone, So this thing came over and they all of them went offline. At least, now that I think about it, at least what they saw showed them they went offline. But, I'd question if they really went offline or if whatever the hell this thing was, human or not, was creating some type of disturbance where it just tweaked with the computers, right? So it's just showing them these things went offline,
but they did really,
but
they
maybe
really
they
go
didn't.
offline.
Maybe they didn't go offline. It's just that's what the computers are getting all fucked up from this thing, right? So I don't recall if they talked to too many people about it, but they did hear, because I think they reported it, and they were told that cell phones. They were told that 2 weeks prior, the same thing happened, and I think it was at a different unit on the base. So that's just one story. Now, keep in mind, with that story being told, that's actually happened, supposedly, allegedly, happened a few times throughout the decades at different bases as well. Malmstrom is not the only one to have this happen. Okay. And you've never heard of that story, obviously, because you've never heard of Malmstrom.
No.
So it's an interesting one. So in late 2014, this might be something you might be a little more aware of. This is going to be off. I'm not sure. Let's see here. So a pilot of a Super Hornet reported a near collision with a UFO or UAP when an object that looked like a sphere encasing a cube zipped between two fighter jets flying roughly 100 feet from each other. So according to them, they're flying, 100 feet's close when you're in a plane, especially at that speed.
That's tight formation, I'd say.
Yeah, very. And they said this thing, a sphere that had a cube inside, zipped right between them. So it's hard to say if this object they saw was still or almost still, or if it was actually moving, right? Like if it's a balloon, for the most part, compared to them, it would have been still.
Yes.
Just going with whatever current's making it move.
Sure.
So there's that. You've heard of Oceana Naval Air Station out in Virginia Beach area?
Oceana. Yes.
Oceana.
Yeah, it's the East Coast F-18 base.
Right.
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
Like Oceana.
Oceana.
Got to say it with the accent.
Yeah,
Not
gotta say it with the New Yorker accent.
So at Oceana, they've reported reports of an object at, let's say, their entry window. So the way this works out there, you're probably more aware than me. Who knows? They take off from there. Their training grounds, because it's populated, their training grounds are out over the ocean. So the way I understood what was said, and there wasn't a ton of detail, but basically they fly up to a specific altitude where they have a very specific window that they have to enter the training area in. and they exit the training area to go back to base through the same window. These guys, and I think this was within the last 10 years, definitely within the last 20 years. This might have been around the 2004, 2005 issues as well. At that window, they were consistently seeing something. They don't know what the fuck it was. Not really good description. It might have been one of these spheres with a cube inside as well, hovering, just sitting there at that window. And they know it's not moving because when they'd exit the training area over the ocean and come back,
same spot,
shit's still there. There was periods where it was there for days and days and days and days. They'd see it every time, couldn't miss it. So it's just another story, but all military personnel, fighter personnel, fighter aircraft personnel, and I don't know how important that is or isn't, but you talk about credibility, right? So
sure,
people lend these guys more credibility because of what they do, and I'd agree with that, I guess. The training and how hardcore it can be, and you're very just by the book. You do this, you do this. There's no fucking around. There's no time for it, and nobody puts up with it anyways, right? For the most part. So, have you heard of any of those? Any of that stuff?
No.
It's a lot of that's come out recently. Not Malmstrom, but these last two came out recently.
But I believe it. I believe that, like what I was talking about earlier, I believe there's a higher power than us.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this, and I mean higher power, I mean somebody that's well beyond more advanced technology and brains and than us.
What makes you think that? Not that it's right or wrong. I'm just curious what makes you think that.
Because the universe is so huge. We make up, and then in reality, we make up a small portion. I mean,
a fraction of a fraction of a fraction.
Fraction of a fraction of a fraction. There's got to be something else out there.
You would think, yeah.
I honestly believe. I don't go around preaching that all the time.
No, of course not.
Amongst certain people, I would not say that because people are going to be like, you're nuts.
Right.
Be institutionalized. But I think you're naive if you don't believe that something is out there and exists. And and I think that in a case like that, with they saw these signs. I think if anything, they're there to help us.
Yeah,
maybe to make us. I'd like to think that they're there to make us better.
What do you think about the possible? We'll go through some videos here and show you these. But I mean, what do you think about the possibility that some of the stuff that's been seen could be our technology?
It very well could be. What do I think? It very well could be.
Yeah.
I mean,
some let me mention this real quick. Maybe you have a thought on this, maybe you don't. Let's see. One of the things I continuously hear, so all this shit came out, I don't know, Stephanie, when did this come out? Like 6 years or so ago, the gimbal, the Go Fast, the Tic Tac videos, David Fravor, the pilot, Luis Elizondo, all that shit. It was like 5-6 years ago or so.
I believe so. I don't know. I also feel like 10 years ago was like the early 2000s, so I'm like not the one to ask about like judging on time.
It was around that.
Okay.
So it's I got to find a way to shorten this all down. There's been a program investigating UFOs or UAPs prior to what they just started, what you're hearing about now, ATIP also, or whatever it is now, I forget, UAP task force. This guy, Luis Elizondo, headed it up. He wasn't happy with what was going on, and the guy that was in charge over him, and he Luis Elizondo was the one running this group, so he basically quit. Before he quit, he did some things. He declassified these 3 videos you're going to see, which you've probably already seen these. And not saying he did that on purpose for this reason or not, he hasn't said, but of course the person he got in touch with, he let that person know, I think he's said this, that, hey, well, these videos are declassified, why don't you try getting them? And they got them, and that's how they got out.
That's pretty cool.
Now, I think I forgot my point. Why was I bringing this up to him?
You were good.
Because
You're gonna show some videos.
whether it's our technology.
Oh yeah.
Or whether it's
So some of this stuff that's happened, which we'll see, let's say off the coast of Southern California. Some of these are from there, and I believe the Tic Tac video is from there. And after all this shit came out, Luis Elizondo and all these people start doing all these videos and talking about him and all this bullshit. And one thing I've heard a lot is when questioned about it, and someone saying it's probably our own government, our own military, testing out some top secret shit.
Sure.
And a ton of these guys say, bullshit, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
They're not going to test that shit on their own people and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And
or would they?
Yeah,
that's
totally
the point I revert. Yeah, that's the point I revert back to multiple decades ago. I forgot what it was called. Project. God, there was Project Blue Book. I don't think that was it. It was something else. I can't remember the name. But basically, if you're going to question if our government military will test on our own, and not even civilians, but on their own military people,
they absolutely will.
They took these guys, volunteered. They volunteered. These guys volunteered. They didn't know what the fuck they were volunteering for, and they took them, put them in rooms, and basically they lived there for a little while, and they basically hyped them up on all these fucking drugs and shit. These guys had no clue. We're talking LSD, and just gave them massive amounts of this stuff. And some of these guys wound up dying. Some of them wound up fucked up for life. All this shit. They didn't care because they were trying to study. I think it had to do with mind control and trying to control the person through these drugs. This is a long time ago, So to say, I hate it when I hear one of these pilots like this guy, come out and like, there's no way, man, they're not going to test that shit on us. I'm like, well, what better way? If you have something that can do what's being claimed these things are doing,
right? What better way to test it on your
body? You can test them out at Area 51, but you're not going to be testing them against a goddamn carrier battle group.
No.
So yeah, do it because you're going to get information. You're going to get data from that. You're going to get pilot reports. You're going to get sensor recordings.
You're going to get qualitative and quantitative data. You know Big what? Time, I think I've lost. I don't know. This is a sidebar comment here, but I've lost all faith. In our government.
That's not a sidebar comment. We brought that up a couple times. Trust in our government's at an all-time low.
That's like, to me, like an oxymoron. Government and trust, or trusting the government, like military intelligence.
You should be able to.
It doesn't exist.
Yep.
Controlled chaos. No. You know what? I believe that they do experiment, and I think that to them, you're just a number.
Oh yeah,
you did. You did swear on the oath to protect and defend.
Right. Well, I mean,
the Constitution.
You already have a social security card from birth, right?
Correct.
Social security number.
I think so.
You're already a number.
I hope so.
You're already a number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a number, but to them, it's you're expendable.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, it would not surprise me, but I don't want to think that it's our technology. I don't think the government has. To me, they've got no business. I don't want my hard-earned tax dollars going towards extraterrestrial technology for to me, what are they needed for?
Well, no, not saying it's extraterrestrial, just our technology. Whether it could have been reversed and engineered from extraterrestrial technology if it ever made its way here, or if it's just we've made advancements, and obviously if they've made these kind of advancements, they're not going to tell anyone.
I don't think we're that smart. Yeah. I don't think we're that smart, honestly.
It's hard to tell, but to say
we have people like Elon Musk in the world, so I mean.
Well,
there
Elon
has
Musk
to be someone
we're in a computer.
If anybody,
I mean
him.
Yeah, but I mean, there has to be people who are at least half as smart as him. That
works for the government. I don't think so. I don't know.
Oh, dude, because it's all contracted out. They got scientists that they're paying fucking bank, I'm sure, to shut up.
And there's think tanks all galore.
Yeah, and these people know what's going to happen to them, or at least what they're threatened with. I mean, we all hear the stories. So let's look at some videos. Curious to get your take on these. I'm going to tell you right away, some of these videos, when these came out, I was completely unimpressed with I don't buy them at all. So this is going to be from this is a 2019 video from the Navy. This is of course off the coast of Southern California.
Okay.
This one is claimed to be, well, you'll see here. Let me share it
Do
with
I
you,
get to
Stevie.
see it
Here,
too, or
of course
we're
not.
not?
Yeah, no.
Yay!
Let me pull it up. Okay, so keep an eye up there, Alex. You'll see it. Let me play it real quick. It's short.
This guy. Okay.
So these guys on this battleship or the carrier, they're tracking this thing, and they're like, what the hell is this thing? They act like they have no clue. And then right there, they say, oh, it splashed down, and they're like, mark the coordinates, all that stuff. So, you know, they don't know supposedly what it was. But that's just one of the videos. It's quick. 2019 off California by the Navy. Okay. I'm not really convinced of anything on that. I was watching a show actually last night today, and
Last night, today, like,
well, I started it last night,
got
and
you.
it went into today.
Got you.
And
Someone was binging. All right.
no, I was working, so I was just listening to it. You know, one of the guys mentioned this, and this guy is super smart. I think he's a theoretical physicist. He's young, which is scary because I'm like, man, boy, do I feel like an idiot. This guy was like, there's no way this guy should have known all the shit he knows at his age. It's amazing, you know?
Mm.
And he referenced this video, and he's like, this looks exactly like, and I thought I wrote it down somewhere. I guess I didn't. But there's this,
maybe he's an actor.
no.
He's the real deal. I think it's the real deal.
Well, he mentioned something that I guess they came up with 4 out of commission submarines, older ones. They decommissioned and had to figure out something to do with them. They're like, well, let's use them and see if we can use the torpedo tubes for something. So they had this one guy, and I saw an interview with him, create this drone, if you will. But basically, it could be shot out of the missile bays or whatever it was on these submarines, straight up out of the water. As soon as it gets out, 2 jets power it fairly quickly up to speed, and then the jets, the rockets drop off, and then it uses its own jet, and then you know it can go out and do whatever it's going to do, and then it comes back to the area of the submarine and shuts off the jet, throws a parachute, lands, and basically just floats on the water.
Gotcha.
Submarine comes and uses some
recovers.
cable system to pull it back down into the tube.
What?
So he's like, it looks exactly like that to me. I'm like, well, you know, I don't see a parachute, and you would have seen that with this, but either way, interesting video. But you know, does it convince you of anything? Not really. There's not much to see there. This is another one that came out along with right after a lot of these videos. Forget this guy. I thought I cut some of this shit out. I guess I didn't.
Looks like Mr. Furley.
Okay, here we go. So this is off one of the groups, and they're recording what they were saying were these triangle-shaped objects lit up. Tell me if you noticed anything about these, Alex. What I can tell, it's just the one that they're recording, but they said there was multiple. Is there anything in particular that strikes you about watching that? I'll start it over again real quick so you can see it. When you see that triangle, anything pop out to you?
To me, it looks like a jet, kind of.
Right. Why?
The aerodynamics of it, the points, wingspan. It's got that.
So the light you're seeing, the shape, the triangle.
Sure.
Basically, this guy everyone calls a debunker. His name is Mick West. He's not a debunker, but he is a debunker. Hard to explain. He said basically that's bokeh. Bokeh is basically the shape of the little sensor or whatever inside your camera lens, right? Some are triangle,
Okay.
I think mono, whatever the thing they were using was like a monocular.
Okay.
And a lot of those, I guess, had the triangles. It could be a square, rectangle, and your bokeh, which is, let's say I hold a camera up to you and I manually focus it on you, so everything in the background is blurry. Well, if there's lights and stuff, then you're going to get this. It's called bokeh created off of it. So if it was like a round sensor, you're going to get that little like
lens flare.
No, but a blurry. That light is going to appear blurry, but it's going to appear as round. If I had that triangle sensor in there, it appears a bright triangle, just like that. So he went on. This guy McWest went on, and he's super smart. He's a mathematical guy. He used to engineer video games and all this stuff. And he went on, checked out all the flights, all this stuff, and then he noticed some things in the video. There's some stars in the background. He was able to match those up with the time and day because we had the information from this video,
Lord.
He was able to match those up. Yeah, he was able to match those up with the sky, and we already knew where this battle group was off the coast of Southern California. He matched that up, and then he looked at the flight data from commercial aircraft and whatnot, transponder data, and he found there was a flight that went right over at that time they filmed that. And what I noticed on that video never convinced me of shit other than someone's trying to put some bullshit out there.
Yeah.
And that is that you can clearly see the flashing strobe lights.
That's
and it's not like and it's not like one flashing strobe. It's totally consistent with what you see every day on every goddamn commercial airplane. There's literally almost no question about it. And that's basically what it came down to was, well, that's exactly what it is, Just interesting. Have you seen either of those yet?
No.
Okay. So let's get into the more popular-ish ones here. So we're going to go on to the gimbal. So this is one of the big ones that came out. This is recorded off 2014 to 2015 off the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group off the East Coast.
Okay.
I'm guessing you've never been on that ship.
No. I got a good buddy that came from that ship.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
What's he do anything fun on there?
Yeah, he was a support equipment guy like myself. Oh, like I was. Yeah.
Gotcha.
He actually just picked up Chief Petty Officer. He just got the big promotion that I did not get. I'm a little jelly.
Yeah. All right, so this one is the gimbal video. So we'll play the whole thing here. And tell me if anything pops out at you on this too. Boy. And they're cycling through the different types of viewing they can do on there.
Looks like it's infrared. Looks like it's looking for heat signatures.
Yeah, this is one of those camera pods on the bottom of the fighter aircraft instead of having a missile there.
What is going on?
That looks like a flying saucer.
Does it? So,
but it looks like a flying saucer. It's inverted.
Yeah, you notice there's no exhaust plume. There's no heat coming out the back.
Yeah, I don't think they run off gasoline.
Right.
Yeah.
So the question is, what the hell is it? And we've seen videos in the past that they've proven look just like this, that are known aircraft. And you don't really see it because of the angle of this thing and where it's at. And one of the things, I'll play it one more time for you to notice, you'll see at a few different times, like right there, you see the object kind of moves a little bit.
Yeah.
It twitches. Every time you see one of those, watch what the camera does. You'll notice a little movement in the camera pod itself. Okay. So let me play this again real quick. Every time you see that object appear to switch its angle or whatever, pay attention to what the camera that's recording this is doing, if you can. Should be coming up any second here. There's the first one.
It just twitched.
Yep. There's a second one. Third. still going. Fourth. Every time that object appeared to adjust its angle or something, you notice the camera did something also.
Yeah, well, there's also that number at the bottom went from like 242 to 240 to 242. It was toggling back. It was toggling.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's basically reading the direction of the angle of the camera.
Well, so I'm not knowledgeable enough to talk too well on this. I'd recommend checking out Mick West on YouTube. He has a very good analysis of this. He went straight into this camera pod and looked up how it works and all this shit. So basically, this camera pod looks like a torpedo or a missile on the bottom of the aircraft. Okay, you've probably seen them. Who knows? And the front is the camera, and this thing can swivel around like no other. It can record anything anywhere almost, except directly behind it, right? And what happens is, what he described is basically you have a point where once this camera turns so far, it has to do this weird rotation.
Okay.
Basically, it's like it's flipping itself upside down almost. He said when it does that, there's this other software in there. So when it flips, you'd think your image is going to go upside down. But there's stuff built in there, software, all this stuff that keeps that from happening. And basically, the way he was explaining it was kind of like it's keeping the horizon level. Technically, everything should have flipped upside down, sky down below, ground up above, right? But that's not the case. You didn't see that happen.
Program that offsets it, so basically, we're not seeing
so you don't see any of that shit.
Sure.
And he was not 100% debunking the video, but he's pointing out the fact that the camera is clearly doing something when this object appears to be moving. And what he's saying he believes is happening is that the object is not moving at all. It's this camera getting around to it right on the edge of that rotation point, and boom, it hits that point, and it's whoop, it does its thing. The object looks like it fucking moves. The camera looks like it moves, which it does. That's basically all it is.
So it's trick photography.
In a way, from our own
unintended trick photography.
Sure.
Yeah, from our own systems on our military aircraft that these military
preventing us from seeing what they don't want us to see.
Right. But these, it's funny, these military guys, they're like, I fly this shit every day, blah blah blah. Don't tell me how it works. I know how it works, and blah blah blah. And my thinking has always been like, you didn't build the goddamn fucking thing. I might be like super extravagant on a computer, or I might be super well versed in Excel. But ultimately, I don't know what went into that.
Yeah.
I didn't design the thing.
Are you the coder?
Right. That's always been my thing. So it's kind of nice to hear like Mick West come out and actually explain this shit with detail and hear that, oh, see guys, you can be wrong. Nobody's perfect, All right, let's go on to the next one. This is also from USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group. This is, again, off the East Coast. This one is called the Go Fast video, and these are all the ones that came out that you would have seen in the news. Have you seen any? Have you seen that other one, the one we just saw, the gimbal, yet?
No.
Okay, let me pull this one up. This is the Go Fast. And... well, let's just watch it here. The guy, the Wizzo, weapon system officer, is trying to pick this thing up so he can track it, and boom, right here he yells out. He's like, "Whoa, got it!" Blah blah blah. They're acting like it's amazing. Now, important to note, they're also saying there's a whole fleet of them, and I don't know if that's in this one or the one we just watched. I think it was the previous one, but they're saying there's like a whole fleet of these things, so it's not just one, but I think this video is just one. That's basically it. That's all it is.
I didn't see anything in that last one. Like, what am I supposed to be looking at?
That object is trapped.
Okay.
It's going to get it right
there.
It's going to lock onto it right here.
There it is.
Right there.
There it is.
Okay.
It's that little dot in the center of those
Got
two
you.
Parallel lines.
Got you.
Now, they're high up. They, I mean, basically, Mick West. I think Mick West, but or someone else has looked at it as well. And they've taken the flight data that you see on screen there, and they've looked at it all and gotten the distance. Therefore, they also know the altitude of that fighter aircraft, and they can easily, somewhat accurately, pinpoint the altitude of that object, which they then know how fast it's moving, which is not that fast.
Looks like they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they were locked right on.
Yeah, but on that video, these guys are all claiming like this thing was just hauling ass. We don't know what the hell it is. Blah blah blah. They're acting like it's just something amazing, and that's why I said these 3 videos did nothing for me. These things came out, and I'm like, oh my god, this is all over the news.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in there. So the next one's going to be the Tic Tac video. This is the 3rd one that came out. If anything, you would have seen this one too. But I got a question for you first. This was filmed in November 2004 off of the USS Nimitz carrier strike group,
Nice.
SoCal, Southern California.
That's what I'd like to hear.
You were on the Nimitz, weren't you?
I was 97 to 2001.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, they were seeing shit back then. Were you ever in the training area off Southern California?
No.
Well, it wouldn't matter because you were fucking down below anyway.
Well, when I checked in that ship, they were already done with the training. So they do workups where they go to the training places to get everybody prepped, ready to go. But when I had checked in, they were already done.
Yeah.
So basically, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're one of us. Just act like you know what you're doing. As brand spanking new. So
Yeah.
let's see this.
Okay, well, let me give you a little background on this video real quick. So Commander David Fravor, he's one of the pilots. He had just taken off. Him and his wingman, which was a wing woman, they were going out to do training off of whatever island it was. And the operator basically radioed him and told the operator was on the USS Princeton.
Okay.
And told Fravor, the pilot, that they'd been tracking unusual aircraft for about 2 weeks prior to the incident. Well, they told him this after the incident. Sorry, not on the radio. The aircraft would appear at 80,000 feet before descending rapidly toward the sea and stopping at 20,000 feet and hovering. Keep in mind, this is all within seconds. And I'm not talking like 59 seconds. I mean like 2-3 seconds. Fravor reported that he saw an object, white and oval, hovering above a disturbance in the ocean. He estimated that the object was about 40 feet long. Fravor and another pilot, this is his co-pilot, wingwoman, Alex.EP, said in an interview that a total of 4 people, 2 pilots and 2 Wizzos, witnessed the object for about 5 minutes. Fravor said as he spiraled down to get closer to the object ascended, mirroring the trajectory of his airplane until the object disappeared. A second wave of fighters, including, this is with Chad Underwood, they took off from Nimitz. His aircraft was the one that was equipped with the advanced infrared camera, or the FLIR camera.
FLIR, yeah.
Yeah, this is the pod-mounted camera system. Chad Underwood recorded the FLIR video and coined the description Tic Tac because he was just describing what the infrared image looked like. But he did not actually see the object himself. So this is the Tic Tac. Let me get this thing up. This would be the 3rd video in the group of ones that came out where the Pentagon has stated, yes, these are legit videos, and we're just now going to start looking into them, which it turns out they've been looking at this shit all along.
Of course.
Here's the Tic Tac. Doesn't look like a Tic Tac to me. No.
Looks more like a Good and Plenty.
Ugh. I like Good and
Gross.
Fruity. I'm not into black licorice.
Mm-mm.
That flavor is just weird. It's growing on me a little bit, but
Mm-mm. No. So
so I switch in between them again.
Yeah.
Over in
This
Norway.
object doesn't do anything. This is literally all the video we get.
It's wild.
I had to blow it up, so it's a little more clear than that. At least the numbers, the data.
So it's just hovering. It's not actually like going
no, it's
anywhere?
moving.
Okay,
It's moving.
And the Pentagon's doing what now? They're investigating. They're looking into this.
Okay,
They
I'm
did
gonna
look
give.
into it.
Yeah, let's.
I'm asking.
Yeah, let me get through the rest of this real quick because we don't have much left, and then I'm gonna explain some of that to you. I'm curious your opinion on the stuff. So that's all the Tic Tac was. It's literally nothing. Now, here's why I asked about your time in wherever you were at, which you said was it Iran or Afghanistan?
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Mhm.
So this video just came out recently. I have 2 videos left. One of these is the Mosul Orb, which all you guys out there you've heard of. I don't know which. I was it was a bit confusing looking this up. I'm not sure which one of these is the Mosul Orb. However, they're both
Mosul is in Mosul, Iraq. So it was discovered. Or
exactly.
Taken. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. This one is going to be just a still image, and then I'm going to show you a video of something similar in a different area. From what I was finding, this one is the Mosul Orb, the still shot, and it's that metallic looking shiny ball you see at the bottom right.
I see it.
Okay. That was in the air, and that is from a military aircraft, probably drone, I believe. That's where we get that from. We've not seen that video yet. Now we have this other one. This other one's I like this one because it's a video and you can actually see there's a goddamn ball flying in the air. You'll like this. Have you seen these yet, Stevie?
Yes, we have.
Okay, here we go. It's going to come in from the top right. There it is. They're like, what the fuck? And let's start tracking it. So now you see it at the bottom right of the screen. Kind of comes in and out. Bottom corner.
Yeah, I see it.
Right there.
Yeah.
Look at that. Just a ball. Obviously, that's moving too fast to be a balloon. I'll say that.
I didn't know damn balloon.
No. Let's play it once more. I like how you said that. So for your viewing pleasure, I'll play it once more.
Do it.
I think you found that interesting. I could be wrong. I mean, that's just weird.
It's very weird.
So, some people, I've heard some people make comments about it, saying things like, well, these guys are in active war zones. These drones are in active war zones and blah, blah, blah. You got missiles flying around. You got bullets flying around. I'm like, but this isn't centuries ago. We don't fire fucking cannonballs anymore, do we?
Not only that, but cannonballs that just hover perfectly above the ground for a while.
Well, those are moving. Those aren't hovering. Those are flying.
Well, that's what but they're not arcing like a cannonball. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That
flying, hovering.
Yeah,
that had a mission. That wasn't just some free float like a fireball.
Yeah.
I mean,
I say hovering in the fact that it's not arcing. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and I do not, from what I see in that, I don't believe that's moving too fast, meaning like hundreds and hundreds or thousands of miles an hour, like some people claim in other things.
I don't think so.
So I'm not surprised they're able to pick that up on video, but that would look much different if it was a missile. It's clearly round.
Yes.
There's no way those are bullets, like give me a fucking break. So this next one, this is just a picture. This is taken from a cockpit. I got the best one I could find, so you don't actually see some of the cockpit, but this is in the cockpit of one of our aircraft training of an object. They said they had no clue what it was. What do you think when you look at that? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Kind of like the video we watched earlier, but the BOFA. that what you were calling it? What are they calling it? The
Uh,
camera lens or whatever.
oh, bokeh.
A bokeh.
No, this is not. This definitely is not. But it almost looks like there's an image on that of a face. I just noticed that. I don't think there is, but some people have found a very similar looking mylar balloon. It looks exactly like that, the same points and everything. But the government's putting this shit's getting leaked, claiming to be unidentified, you know, which is interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. It's clear to me. So let me just bring these couple up, and then we'll get back to your question you had, which you'll have to remind me what it was. So, in some stuff I was watching last night, or this podcast I was watching last night and today, this guy, super smart. This one guy is talking about that. You remember that video we watched earlier with that thing that was above the ocean, and then it appeared as if it might have gone into the ocean? He's the one that's saying it looked like this thing, and it's called the I do have the name of it. I'm sorry. It's called the Cormorant UAP. Now, the Cormorant is what I was describing earlier. That's the thing where they repurposing these old submarines and shooting this thing out of the water, and then it comes back and parachutes down, right, and they retrieve it.
Mm-hmm.
This is also called a Cormorant, but it's not the same thing. But this gives you an idea of some of the technology that we've been working on. Okay. Let's take a look at this. There's no propeller up there. It's not a helicopter. From what I could, there is sound with this. From what I could tell when I was listening to this, it's basically a fan underneath, like a hovercraft, but you can clearly hear a turbine. You can hear a turbine winding up.
It's like a Harrier.
Right. So my guess is that turbine is needed to get that thing spinning as fast as they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because look how high it is.
Yeah.
Most things like that, they're a foot off the ground. What's a hovercraft hover at off that pillow it sits on, you know?
Yeah.
I think you have to have a turbine to spin that shit fast enough to get this thing that high, which isn't even that high. And you can tell that's not
doesn't even look like a real video. It looks like it
is real. It is 100% real. Not saying they're using that, but it's called the Cormorant multi-role UAV. That's July 2020. That's a real fucking video.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. And if you're not aware, Alex, there's something called the Avro car. The government was testing back in the day when it was black and white video. A round shaped disc, two guys sat in it. It was big. It was like a hovercraft, and they could barely get this thing to move. Like, it looked ridiculously dangerous. Let's check this one out. This is an underwater launch of something. Doesn't matter what it is. The point of this is we've had shit. That almost looks like the artist rendition video I saw of this Cormorant UAV. But this video is so shitty, it's hard to tell, but it looks almost identical.
And what year was this taken?
I have no idea on this. I couldn't find anything on this. It looks old.
Looks like very grainy. Needs to be the tracking is
it doesn't
distorted.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do so many effects with videos. I can go into my editing software and make a video look like this.
True.
You know,
and it's,
but
you know what, smoke and mirrors. I mean,
yeah,
maybe that's the whole premise behind
exactly. Now, I mean, the purpose of me showing this video is just to show you, hey, we have some shit that most of the public doesn't know we have or can do. You know, that's all. But so what was your question earlier?
I had many questions.
What were you asking?
I had
me?
a lot of questions.
What did he say, Stevie? Do you remember?
He had lots of questions.
Memory. No, he just asked me something. I was like, "Here, we're almost done. Let's get through
back
this.
to that.
Yeah.
No.
What was that? Come on.
I am so sorry. I don't know why people rely on me for my memory. Like, I smoke weed,
ours
man.
sucks.
Dude, I smoke.
Hey, you said it, not me. I thought it.
I'm the
You had
stoner
a
in the
question
group.
about something. We were watching. I think it was the TikTok video. Was it TikTok? TikTok or the Go Fast?
Yeah.
You came up with a question. Was it this one? Let me pull it back up here.
Maybe. Doo-doo-doo.
Was it this one? You had a question. It was right around one of these videos.
That is a crazy video. What the hell that is? It's going somewhere with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's definitely going somewhere.
Yeah. But it's like tracking. It's like,
hard to tell if it's actually moving from side to side or if it literally is just going completely straight. It's hard to tell because you don't know what the aircraft that's filming it is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can kind of tell from those lines on there. You can kind of tell the angle, the attitude, all that, but it almost looks like it's just going straight. But it kind of looks like it might have made a slight left. But I don't know. You don't remember what that question was?
Must not have been too important.
No. That's too bad. Yeah, so I mean, the gist of what's come out with all this though, and just so you know, the viewers are only going to get a side view of your head if you keep staring at that TV. You were at, you had mentioned something about them studying this. That's what your question was. It had to do with the Pentagon said what?
Oh, yes, I did. I said earlier. I asked. They're investigating. They're investigating these.
Yeah.
Are they really investigating?
Yeah.
Or they already
know?
Yeah, that's just the
yes.
Shut up. Yes. Yeah, we got it under control. We got it on the wraps. We got it under control.
They are and they aren't. Let me give you a brief history and why. So this guy Luis Elizondo that came out, okay, he worked for the government, the military, he's a career military guy, blah blah blah. He was heading up a program called ATIP, Advanced Aeronautical Threat Identification Program. Okay, he came out. He said, "Boom! I ran a government entity that looked at UFOs, and we don't know what the fuck they are." Everyone's like, what the fuck? And boom, these videos came out right before he came out. The timing was just impeccable.
So convenient.
Yeah. Well, there's reasons why, right? And he basically will admit it to an extent. And so it's been proven, it's been verified. He worked for them. He did come up with this. The government, when he first came out, I believe had said, nope, he didn't do that. And then they immediately reversed course and said he had no assigned responsibilities within ATIP. Mm-hmm. So they said, no, fuck this guy. He didn't run this program. And then they said, well, he didn't have any responsibilities in there. He's like, bullshit. I ran the fucking group. Mm-hmm. So it's been proven now, and he's telling the truth. Well, he told a story about some conference or convention or something he had gone to, and when he was done, when the conference was done, a guy approached him and said, hey, I'm so and so. Thanks for what you're doing. I think this stuff needs to be in the public realm. People need to know about what's going on. And he's like, thank you. Who the hell are you? And he's like, oh, I'm so and so. I ran the program before you.
Oh.
And Luis Elizondo was like, what? I thought we were the first. He goes, no, we were studying it long before you. Within the UFO community, they've always believed that the government's been studying this because things have come out, been leaked by people who are no longer in saying, yes, this and that. These people have been verified by reporters. However, they obviously have to stay anonymous, but you trust the reporters are doing their job in verifying these people before putting the shit out there. It turns out they've been actually studying the shit all along. So yes, the Pentagon has shown these videos as well. These three, Gimbal, Tic Tac, and Go Fast, said, yes, those are our videos. Those are from our aircraft. We don't know what the fuck they are in there. those are 3 of the however many hundreds of videos they're studying, your sightings they're studying, So, yeah, I was just curious, get your take on it and what you think of all that stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, those 3 videos, those 3 main ones, and the infrared, the night vision one of the triangles, right? None of those 4 videos have proven anything to me. I thought they're complete bullshit when I first saw them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were interesting, but I didn't see anything that looked really unusual in those, I mean, what do you think? And I'm probably more interested in the Mosul one, those balls, I mean, those are interesting to me.
I want to know what that ball was.
Why is it
whatever that was? It looked like a ball. I want to know
for that thing to stay in the air at such a low speed. It would have to have propulsion. There's no way that thing would still be going, right? Like, let's say that was like a cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
Being shot out of a cannon or whatever, it would clearly be, at least to me, traveling much faster than that. And then, it slows down. It's going to arc down and hit the fucking ground.
Mm-hmm.
That thing just, like you said, it looks like it's on a mission, man. It's going somewhere. It's not changing.
Maybe it's fusion, nuclear fusion. Maybe that was propelling it.
Well, there's a story back in the day. I told you about this real quick, Stevie. The Betz family, Betz. It's called the Betz sphere, and I heard about this on a show once a few years ago. This took place a long time ago, and these people were somewhere out in the East Coast. Mm-hmm. They owned a bunch of land, and these people this family's all been described as down to earth, salt of the earth type people. They're not going to bullshit you. And they went out on their property one day, and they were driving on a road, and there was some other type of property they owned somewhere where it was just land and grass and stuff, and they saw there was a fire. So they went out there to try to extinguish it, and they noticed this ball in the field, a big silver metallic looking ball, just like what you saw in that orb video and the orb picture. That Mosul orb is what they call it, right? So they'd never seen this thing before, something like it before. They took it home. They had it for a few weeks, I think. And a few different times, one of their kids was playing with this thing, rolling it around on the ground. They said this thing started moving and it followed the kid around the house a few different times. They immediately went to the military. There was a military base nearby. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And they said, "Oh, we want to take a look at it. Give it to us." She said, "Fuck you. No." And they eventually coaxed her into giving it to them. However, she made them agree to, you can only have it for this period of time, and then it's mine, which was like a day or 2 days or something like that. So pretty short.
Yeah.
They're like
trustworthy.
Sure. Yeah. They're like,
we'll bring it back tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. They took it. And it took way longer for her to get back. She said when they got it back, it was different. Something was different about it. She goes, number 1, it didn't move around. Mm-hmm. Number 2, something looked different about it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, whatever they did, they fucked it up. Or gave you something different.
They dissected it, and they probably removed the AI that was in it, or whatever it was. Yeah, allowing it to follow the.
But this was a long time ago, and you say something like that, and it's like, well, how long ago do you think they had technology that could do that shit? This is a ball just sitting out in the middle of their field that they think probably causes fire, and some things that have been portrayed as maybe some type of gyroscopic system on a satellite, and this was nothing more than a piece of a satellite that came back down. Gyroscopic device to allow the satellite to adjust, to position itself in space, right in the spot it's in, to just rotate or whatever, but not following someone around the house.
It's an inanimate object, a satellite. So this orb is following this kid around. I'd say technologically,
I don't like the word orb. The Betz sphere wasn't called an orb; it was called a sphere. But this last video and the picture where they call it the Mosul orb, and then that other one, I mean, orb is not a good name for that, because an orb is, for the most part, a light. But I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you have all these videos, right? So most of those are military. I mean, do you really think they don't know what the fuck they're looking at, or do you think we really have something? The first thing my mind goes to, you look at that Mosul orb, that ball flying through.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's a lot they don't know.
Yeah.
And I think they have to make stuff up as they go along to make themselves sound credible, because they are a government. And without their credibility, or if they can't prove credibility, what good are they? So sure,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's made up. I think in a lot of it, they do know what's going on. But again, this goes along back to what we talked about earlier. I think there's a higher power.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about God either.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I think Steve and I are on a similar page to you on that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm convinced of nothing from any of that shit. It's not convincing, and now it's interesting to see they have this task force out and we're studying this bullshit, and they've given nothing out.
I don't trust this government. And I don't trust the Pentagon.
It's hard to. It really is, especially after COVID. They blatantly lied to us on TV, like blatantly,
and still are.
Well,
yes.
yeah,
it's nonstop. It's just,
I just read that today. COVID's gone.
Yeah,
it's not a
all
pandemic
of a sudden
anymore.
Now we're no longer in a pandemic. It's gone.
Yeah, because they finally realized we're gonna have to live with it. Well, everyone's been saying it from the beginning.
I think it was a hoax. I think it was completely fabricated.
You think so? Let me give you a fact on that. So this recently came out. It was in the news, and this had been hinted at for a year or two now. One, the hospitals were making money off COVID deaths,
of course.
And there was something else. I forgot what it was, but anyways, it just came out in the news in the last month or so. I think I mentioned it to you, Stevie. Where they found that they were basically misreporting deaths as COVID deaths, and they're like, so many of these people, they never died of COVID, but they were marked down as dying of COVID.
Of course, and the federal government was paying them per case, and we're not talking about money. We're talking about a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So of course,
so
gangbangers up in LA, they were getting shot, they were getting stabbed, and ironically, they didn't die from a stab wound or getting shot.
Yeah, they died of COVID. Well, but these people supposedly went into the hospital with COVID, and these doctors are saying they've come out and they're like, it's complete bullshit. They're like, they came in with COVID. They didn't die because of COVID. They died because they had other health reasons.
Pre-existing conditions.
Right. And it's like, okay, well, maybe that pre-existing condition was inflamed by COVID, right? So I could see where you might be able to say they died from COVID, even though they really didn't, right? Yeah. But either way you slice the fucking cookie, what's that do to your trust in them? It just drastically erodes it.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
And the Surgeon General at the time, Jerome Adams, he blatantly lied on TV. He contradicted himself 100% within the same sentence. On national fucking television or an article in some news report that came out, and it was like he was basically telling us, guys, this was right at the beginning when everyone was buying the masks, the N95 masks and all that.
Yeah.
He comes out and he says, guys, public, stop buying the N95 masks. They don't protect you against COVID. In the same fucking sentence, he turned around and said, besides, we need them for our medical staff in our hospitals that are working with COVID patients.
Yeah, it sounds like
and I'm like,
major contradiction there.
What the fuck? You got to be kidding me. Yeah. They don't work. Well, then why do you need them for your COVID staff? Because you got fucking surgeons. Surgeons go into surgery with the blue masks. And these COVID masks are better.
And now they wear like multiple masks and shields. Like
some do.
Yes.
I don't know. When my kids were born, that was both C-section mandatory. I didn't see one wearing multiple masks.
That sounds like a contradiction, but I just kind of
huge.
It depends on what you're doing.
You had a lot of Kool-Aid drinkers, okay?
Oh, God.
A lot of Kool-Aid drinkers.
Oh, my God. My entire state drinks Kool-Aid by the gallon.
So does California, and I think, and that was the whole to me, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree, and I'm sure you do too. That was the method behind the madness. They wanted us to be vulnerable. They want us to feel like we need this government to do this.
But why?
But
We've been here so long with the government. Why now?
Because leadership is gone. We had fine leadership back in the day that wouldn't ultimately allow this shit to go down. But
do you think COVID might have had something to do with trying to fuck up Trump's presidency? Not
No. I don't think so.
No.
I don't.
Gotta think.
I think it's way bigger than that.
Yeah.
I think it's way big. I think it was money.
Yeah.
It was just a whole shit. I think it was a ploy to stimulate the pharmaceutical economy.
You think so? Just because of the vaccine?
And I 100%. I think many people profited from this whole COVID nonsense.
Oh yeah.
And
oh yeah.
And that's it's. No, I don't. I don't think it had anything to do. Maybe it did, but I think on the bigger scale, it was politics. It was money.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear that something was going on. It might not be clear what it was, but it didn't make sense.
Well, these government officials, they keep managing to make a mockery of our country, but to extort us, for them, to fill their pockets.
Yeah.
And I think that's what COVID was. I think it had a number of different purposes. I think to make us feel vulnerable, to scare us, to exploit us, and show
that was a biggie people were thinking.
And also for money. I think it had multiple different purposes. And they were very effective because, you still have all these people driving around exercising with masks on. And it's just
I think the driving with a mask on is the funniest thing. I saw someone riding a bike wearing a mask the other day.
Yeah, you're a fucking moron.
Dude,
you're in your
car. The one riding their bike with the mask on, I was like, you are literally not going to be near anyone.
Hey, just to prop those people up a little bit, I will say it crossed my mind in the beginning when we were all figuring out what the fuck's really going on. What it went through my mind driving. If my window's down, my AC's pulling in air from the outside.
Correct.
What if that person in the car in front of me has COVID? What if it's really what if it can really just get around as easily as they say it is? It's that transmissible.
Yeah.
Could I get it from that? I thought it, but there's never one fucking time it went through my mind to wear a goddamn mask in my car.
No. I would sometimes just pull it down if I was going just quickly from one store to another. So here's the thing. I loved the mask mandate. I loved it because I work in a
customer rioting and looting.
Yes, pillaging, rioting, all about it.
I sure as shit hope not.
No, I was in a customer-facing position pretty much the entirety throughout COVID. I worked at Walmart, and
yeah.
And also I worked at Enterprise. Enterprise ended up laying me off and then hiring me back 2 months later, and I was like, okay, whatever, but whatever. Yeah. I had a lot of COVID scares. Because people in my store got COVID, or I found out that I was cleaning a car with someone who was COVID positive, but I always wore a mask. I had hand sanitizer. I wore gloves. I was really strict about shit like that. And then when this entire time about COVID, I come home, I get a job at Comcast. Our entire team of we have 18 people on our team total, including managers. During the height of our COVID bullshit, we had 5 people total, and that's our reps, the people who check you in, and our managers. There was 5 of us for a month and a half. It was hell.
Well,
everyone decided to get sick. However, never got sick.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. Throughout COVID, I was sick the least throughout COVID, and that's with kids in school, and they still got
more
sick.
susceptible than anybody.
Well,
but yeah,
I got sneezed on. the second we took our
Yeah.
mask mandates away, and guess who caught COVID? Me.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Yeah,
I loved my mask because I truly believe that it like helped.
We had
But-
COVID once that we know of, and the only reason we knew that we might have it, which then we tested here,
Mhm.
was because our taste went away. And for me, it was only partial taste. It was
See,
only
that
like
didn't happen for
50% of it.
me.
We're like, other than that, I was completely
So I
fine.
felt like absolute dog shit. And at first I thought it was a sinus infection coming on because it was like about the time where the weather was starting to change like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And so right before work, I was like, maybe I should take a COVID test just in case. And I did, and it came back positive, and I sent it to my boss, and I was like, well, guess he's not coming in. But I also missed my mask just again because I have customer facing job. Because
Yeah.
I didn't have to pay attention to my facial expressions. And I had to retrain my face to like not be like,
Oh yeah, you're the one that's sitting there sticking your tongue out at people and telling them to fuck off
no,
quietly without
I
them
would
knowing.
mutter under my breath. I
yeah.
absolutely would.
Yeah.
And what's funny is
I
like,
would.
you know, my boss and I sit right next to each other because I intentionally take a particular computer at work because the manager station's right next to me. And so I would be like standing next to my boss, and a customer would be walking up, and I would say something just low enough where they would hear me, but you obviously couldn't see that I was talking. And it was
What'd you say?
we would say anything to each other as a customer would be walking up, just loud enough for each other to hear. But I missed my mask simply because I didn't have to check myself.
Well,
Now I do.
No one telling you can't put it back on.
Right.
No one's gonna just make fun of you, but hey, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, no one else in the store wears them. My coworker put one on, but she kept
Since
pulling
when did
it
you
down.
abide by the sheep laws? Come on.
Yeah.
Look, I really believed into that more than I probably should have, and I was a fool.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people did. I think that was that was the plan. That's what they wanted.
And my only thing is why? Why? I mean, it does seem like that. I'm not disagreeing.
Communism.
Why? Because
they want us to be completely and utterly reliant upon them.
How are we more reliant on them now because of COVID? And I mean,
it backfired. I think people are seeing the light like you fucked us.
Do you think we had a hand on it getting out? I mean, because if you're saying that, it's like, do you think it came out accidentally and they just played with it? Or do you think it came out? Because look at all the bullshit in the beginning. Oh, Wuhan, it came out from this fucking market where they sell these exotic animals, and monkeys were pissing on hawks that were pissing on these other exotic animals, and blah, blah, blah.
They couldn't get the story straight. It just kept changing, and the work. This is brand new.
Well, right.
We don't know. We've experienced this before.
But they're saying now people are coming out now.
No, that's not true though, because we definitely have the pandemic of 1918, 1919 was absolutely a version of
the plague. They had the bubonic plague.
Not only that, but like SARS is a thing. This is like COVID-19 is a SARS strain. Like there are
right
swine flu, SARS,
and they've never made a deal about that.
Yeah.
But people have come out, and there was an article recently. Someone who worked at the fucking Wuhan lab. This lady, she's like,
and you
I quit. And
is it verified that she worked there?
I think she went hiding. Well,
or she's dead.
I hope the reporters did their job, but she said it came from the fucking lab.
Yeah.
It came from the fucking lab, and then it turns out that the U.S. had some type of hand in the lab.
I mean,
yes, look it
surprised.
up. I don't know the facts on it, but we had something, whether it was money or a couple people there or something. But my idea has always been, I wonder if this was released intentionally, whether with our help or just simply by the Chinese government. Hey, let's release it. It's clear the China's government doesn't give a fuck about their people. It's very clear.
Of course.
Right? So let's release it to our people. It's going to go everywhere. And their expectation may have been that it's going to be way worse than they thought it was going to be. And it turned out to backfire on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I mention that as a possible theory is, look at what's going on now with Russia and Ukraine. Look at what's going on with China. China is testing more than they ever fucking have. Like, they're ready to pull the fucking pin out of the grenade, you know? So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. COVID is not the topic of the night, but
I never got it. I never got
yeah,
it, and I
You're
never got.
so
I never got
lucky.
that you know of. You could have had it and never
Ugh.
fucking known.
I
You know,
I
it
could have
wasn't
been, I
bad.
could have been asymptomatic, correct?
You never
True.
I
know.
could have been a carrier, and I was happened to be I'm taking a
Anthony
microbiology
got it
class
3
right now,
times
so
that
I'm
we
learning
know
about
of.
all this. No, I never
Yeah.
got vaxxed. I didn't. I refused to get vaxxed, and the district's like, well, it might come to the point where
Oh, Jesus
it's like, you know what?
Christ.
It is what it is. You want to get rid of
See,
me?
Yeah.
You're
I
shooting yourself in
don't
the foot.
mind the
Sad.
vaccinations. I really don't. It's the same thing that of polio. Like,
Yeah,
we
dude,
don't
come on.
know,
You get
but
vaccinated as a fucking kid for measles, chickenpox, all that bullshit. Like, come on, guys.
that's why I didn't
That never made
care.
sense to me. I was like, whatever. Yeah, we're not at the point of microchipping people mysteriously through a vaccine without you
Mm-mm.
knowing. If that were the
Mhm.
case, well, of course. But
I mean,
come on.
if that's the
At
case,
least
you
that we
better
know
give
of.
me some fucking 5G because my cell reception is shit. If you're gonna fucking do that, you might as well make it worth a
Put
damn.
a,
Like, at
put a
least give
miniature
me a
router in my
Bluetooth.
arm.
Give me a Bluetooth option so I can just like link up my fucking speakers to the chip that you implanted. Hopefully, that's like in my bone, so I can get some bone conduction for my music. Like, at least make it cool. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I caught COVID. I did get the shots. I did get a booster, but it was like a good 8 months after my booster that I got COVID. But he also sneezed
Yeah.
directly in my face, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like it was an
People are all
indirect
like,
thing. That dude was like, like, and I like all of maybe like a foot and a half from me, and I'm just like,
God.
I had a friend that used to do that.
old men
We'd be
will
in the
lean over my
car.
counter into my face and cough all the time.
I had a friend.
and
I had a
don't
friend that used to
understand
do
it.
that. We'd be in the car and he'd sneeze and he'd be like, "You're sitting on the passenger seat." He's sitting here driving. And he'd be like, like right in the front, like so bad you could see the mist come out. And I'm just like, "Oh fuck me!"
But initially, they were saying that you couldn't get it from sneezing. It was
disgusting.
coughing because it was a respiratory infection. You couldn't get it from sneezing.
See, that doesn't make any sense because you're
Really?
still
I
expelling the
know.
particle. That
I
doesn't make
never
any
heard that.
sense.
I
I
always
don't know.
heard that. Oh, sneezing's cool. It's okay to sneeze.
I never once
You
heard
know,
that.
I never
coughing
heard
at
that.
somebody because it's
I-
airborne.
Well,
So it's
you're
sneezing,
sneezing,
but
that
it's-
you're
but
still
it's-
getting fluid coming out.
but it's not coming from your
Your lungs?
gas
Yeah.
exchange from your it's not coming from your what is it I just learned about this in this class.
I don't know, but talking to the microphone so people can hear you.
They can hear me just fine.
No, you're quiet.
It's okay. He got
I
on
barely
me
hear you.
as well about not being close enough to my microphone, so here I am getting up on it.
Well, that's because I was going through that last step.
Yeah, I know.
2 episodes recorded in one, and
I might
man,
have
it dwindled
hit the
down. I was like,
game.
well, the thing is, I can't correct it because like Alex and I, we're on. Well, all 3 of us, we're on the same audio
Right.
through this, so I can't.
It was
After the
probably
fact,
my
there's
gain.
no adjusting one. If I had to, I could split your audio and mine, but that's just more of a pain in the ass. But his and mine 100% are going to be together. I
Well,
can't do shit with his.
My mic gets moved around. My mic gets moved out of the way every time Anthony wants to
Whatever.
play games.
All I gotta say is, if you got COVID, make sure you cough on that fucking thing. Deep throat that and get some COVID on that shit. But all right, we got to wrap it up because I know Stevie's got to go to bed for her big day tomorrow.
Big day.
Look, I worked 20 hours in the past 2 days, so
I want to. I want to hear about a big day. What's going on tomorrow?
Well, I'm going to a baby shower, and that's gonna be.
Oh, you talked about it earlier.
And no, also I'm doing a derby day tomorrow night. And in between these 2 things, I am mad cleaning and organizing my house. But I just worked 20 hours, 2 10-hour days, actually more than 20 hours. I worked like 23 hours, like Kentucky Derby's tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. My manager mentioned that today. She's like, Kentucky Derby, you guys go bet on your donkeys or your.
I don't give a shit. I thought it was the roller derby. I got excited.
Roller derby.
No, I'm really big into.
I love how
horse
innocent
racing.
he is.
That's cool.
No, I'm really big into horse racing. So, but it's just the fact that I'm also worked over 20 hours in the past 2 days, and I'm just
drained.
Yeah.
Wow. Welcome to America.
I know. And also I'm on
go bitch to Elon Musk about working 20 hours in 2 days.
That's right.
Look,
he'll fire you.
I just have to go complain to the broadcasters.
Say, get your ass in the office. work 40 hours a day or you're fired.
I think didn't he cut down like maternity leave or some shit too from like 2 months to like 2 weeks or some
He's
shit?
being kind of a dick about
Oh,
everything with his
he's a
employees.
massive dick about everything always. He's a genius, but that doesn't mean that he has social skills.
Well, right.
Yeah. Like he's just I've
I'm not gonna say
known
it.
he's a dick. Like
I'll say it after we're off.
I know I've known he's a dick. Like
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
no, it's
we'll
also
wrap it up.
1:30 in my time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We'll wrap it up. We're gonna split this into 2 episodes as I look up and see that we literally just hit 2 hours,
2 hours.
and 5 seconds,
Mhm.
which is probably a first. So we're going 2 episodes. But
Nice.
yeah, definitely big thank you to Alex for coming out.
Yes,
Nice to hear from
thank
someone in the
you.
military
Absolutely.
who's been at sea, who's been in other
Thank you
countries.
for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting you, Stevie,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it was a good conversation.
We'll say thank you for your service. Although to me, it's never been a thing to do. It's just like,
That's okay.
you know, we all look at things differently. But
Mhm.
you know, like I said, I've heard a couple stories from you. I'm like, well, yeah, you're sitting there with bullets flying over your head.
I had a lot of stories.
That's more than a lot of people do. You know.
Yeah.
You know, everything I am today is because of it. You know, I don't think I'd be who I am. I definitely would not be who I am today had it not.
Of course, yeah.
And
No,
I'm
it
not as
changes you.
successful as I want to be at the moment, but you know, I'm furthering my education to hopefully I can leave the heating, ventilation, air conditioning world and move on to something that pays more and maybe a little bit more technical.
Yeah.
Like, you know, nursing. To me, it'd be, you know, a little bit of a step up.
Hey.
Phlebotomy is so much fun. I wish I had stayed in it.
You want a lobotomy?
No, phlebotomy. As in the study of blood. I love blood. I'm a vampire.
My daughter loves blood. She will take
Runs in the
surgery,
family.
like fucking heart or brain surgery videos on YouTube over cartoons or kid shows.
Okay.
That's
any
awesome.
goddamn day. If she can see, other than knowing you would die if she cut you open, she wouldn't, because she knows that, and that would make her really sad. But if that wouldn't make her sad, she would love to cut someone open and see what the fuck's in there.
You might have a future doctor on you.
Or a future serial killer. You pick one of the two. Think Dexter on her.
Depends on how you nurture that.
Well, yeah, of course. But all right, we'll wrap it up. We're going to go in 2 episodes here, so I guess that'll be good for you guys and bad for me, because that's going to be a lot of time
editing.
Stephanie, I'll let you do it. You do it. You go with the last sentence right here. Let's see if you got it.
Oh geez. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below with your own personal stories. We will read them, talk about them. If you would like to join us on air, you can also tell your stories live with us if you'd like.
I'll fill in the email for you in case you forget.
Go ahead with the email since I always get the bell.
obscuredr1@gmail.com if you have a personal story. We've said it before. There you
go. Also, don't forget to hit that bell so that every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, you're going to get another notification that another episode has gone live. So once again, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell.
I'm trying to get Stevie to laugh there. She didn't. All right, we're out of here. Alex, thanks for showing up and talking.
Pleasure's been all mine.
Stevie, I'll catch you soon.
As always.
All right. Peace out.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check back with us often for new episodes. Feel free to drop a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Obscured Reality.